Tableau is a software company that offers collaborative data visualization software for organizations working with business information analytics in both medium and large-scale companies, and is especially helpful in sorting through large amounts of data. Organizations use Tableau to visualize data and reveal patterns for analysis and business intelligence, making the data more understandable. Tableau is a great way to organize the information and makes it easy to communicate the data to a broader audience with the help of maps, charts, and other visually appealing displays and dashboards. For my research question, I wanted to find out which startups currently have the highest valuations in the United States and what industries do they operate in. I have worked in startups most of my career and at varying levels of growth, and wanted to see the fields that had the most successful startups actually occur in them. I was able to pull a data set from Kaggle.com that listed startups valued at $1 billion or more, and was able to use Tableau to gain some keen insight into what valuations these companies were receiving and what areas are emerging as startup unicorns of the world. First, I'll pull the Excel file I found on Kaggle.com and pull it into my Tableau workbook. Once I have pulled up a file, I'll rename the file from unicorn to billion-dollar businesses, as that is what the term unicorn is referring to. I'll start my first sheet as a map to show the locations where these startups originated from. I'll double-click on the latitude and longitude measures to create an initial map of the world. Next, I'll put the country and city dimensions in the marks box to see where the companies are located. I'll add in the billion-dollar companies measurable to the marks box as well and put it under size. I want to make sure that the billion-dollar companies is notated as a count, as I want to see how many companies there are in each city on my visual. Now that I can see where all the startups originated from, I want to focus in on just the United States, as that will help focus the information we are looking at to just our country and will downsize the overall base of companies we are looking at. I'll do that by bringing up the country into the filters box and going down to United States, clicking on that and clicking OK. I'll also adjust the city on the marks box to label, as I liked to see the smaller cities that had some of the billion-dollar startups, and as well as see some of the labels for the bigger cities as well. We can see from the map that Silicon Valley will actually go over here and make these marks just a bit bigger so that we can see a little easier where all these are. So we can see that Silicon Valley, Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago all had some pretty big sizes for the amount of startups that they had. But the biggest city we see on here on the map for startups is New York City, with a whopping $115 billion valuation startup companies. We can rename this visual billion-dollar startups as of 2022 US. And then we'll center it on there, we'll make it bold, and that is the title. Now we'll move on to the next visual. The next thing I wanted to see was the type of startups that were the highest valued and how many of those companies there were operating in those industries. First, I'll move the industry dimension to the columns field above the visualization. I'll next want to move the last valuation measurable as well as the count of billion-dollar companies measurable into the rows section, as that is what I'll be looking at. This forms a bar graph, which is a good visual to compare and see which industries are highest valued. I again want to put the country dimension in the filters box. Scroll down to United States. Hit OK so that we're only looking at the results for the United States. Once I have done this, I want to sort the industries from most valuable startups to least by using the sort function. On the left-hand side of the last valuation row, so I can see from here that the fintech companies have the highest valuations, followed by the internet, software, and services, and then the other company box. The other company that is impacting the valuation highest is SpaceX with a massive $127 billion valuation. As we can see from this chart, most of the highest valued companies are in tech-related industries. We'll rename this visual type, value, and number of billion-dollar companies. We'll again bold, we'll center it, and we have a title. Great. The last quick visual I wanted to show is a list of the top valued companies in the United States. I'll start by putting the company dimension in the column section of the sheet, and then put last valuation on the rows section of my sheet. I will filter one more time to just show the results from the United States. Scroll down, United States, okay. I'll use the sorting function on the chart so I can see the highest valuation to the lowest valuation. And we can see that SpaceX, Stripe, and Instacart are currently the highest valued startups in 2022. As a final step, I will put the industry dimension right here in the marks box, and then I'd like to convert this chart into a packed bubbles chart. We'll click on the show me over here, and we'll go for the packed bubbles box right here. As you can see, with a few other industries that are on the outside here that are larger, and Instacart here, which is classified as a supply chain, logistics, and delivery company. The chart again shows to be tech industry prevalent, and I will title this visualization Highest Valued Companies and Most Prevalent Industries. And there you go for my, center this real quick. And there's my visualization for the billion-dollar startups in the United States.